Watch out for snakes here. Definitely seeing another looter's trench. I bet you this is one side of a plaza. Oh, it goes up way further. Oh my God. And when the tree falls, it lifts out half of the temple. No way. See if there's anything left. That's a tomb. If you're an entrepreneur, content creator, or a small business owner and you don't have your own website, what are you doing? You're missing out on the benefits of living in 2025. Do you know the cost of what it took to get an ugly website just 10 or 15 years ago? A website that looks something like this. It's actually crazy that in 2025, over the course of a single afternoon, you could build a website that looks better than websites that cost thousands of dollars just a decade ago. And before I made the jump to doing YouTube full time, I was building and designing websites from scratch. And believe me, I wished I could use a company like today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that makes building your website easy. Really easy. It has design intelligence, which helps you easily create a more elegant and personalized website for your business. It even allows you to build an online store, sell your products, and accept payments all in one place. So you've got design, e-commerce, blogging, email marketing, and analytics all in one place. You've got all of this and so much more at your fingertips for a fraction of the cost of what it would take to hire a developer. And especially the upkeep. Most people, when they're building a website, they just think about the cost of getting it built, but if you use that developer, sometimes you often have to pay them an exorbitant amount of money just to keep your website live. With Squarespace, you don't have to worry about that. If you're a creator or a small business owner who's always wanted a website, but you weren't quite sure where to take that first step, Squarespace is the answer. And I actually mean that. I built my website using Squarespace years before they were ever a sponsor of the channel. So when you're ready to build your own website finally, head over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, click the link on screen, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the show. We're in the middle of the Campeche jungle, just north of Calakmul, probably on the very outskirts of Calakmul, where you're starting to reach, you're getting away from a mega metropolis of a Maya city and getting into a smaller Maya city. It's not a very well-known site. Can't find any photos of it on Google, so this is going to be the very first time, I believe, that it's ever been documented. So, should be pretty cool. So on the final day of our expedition, as we were leaving Calakmul, we got the chance to follow a local ranger to an archaeological site that had just been discovered because of looters and artifacts that had never been seen before ending up on the black market. So this right here is an ancient Choltun built by the Maya as a well, just like we build for ourselves today. So they would have been able to get water out of here. And when you're going through the jungle, this is this and aqueducts that you might find, but I don't think the aqueducts are here in Campeche, just north of the Petén rainforest. But Choltuns like this, these big holes in the jungle, are very indicative of a Maya site being somewhere nearby. We're gonna see the foothills of an ancient city first, and then we'll likely get into a larger center plaza. But I've never seen any photos of this site before. I have no idea what this is going to look like. A lot of times in these jungles, it really just depends on the environment. But if you pan around, this really isn't that dense. It kind of comes and goes in density. And I'm not 100% sure, I've never seen a study of this, if these, yeah, we see you, if these thinner areas of foliage are indicative of the Maya inhabiting this area and deforesting it to build their city, and it's just taken this long to grow back for whatever reason, or if it's just how the forest actually works. But not all the time is it really such a blinding trek through the jungle to find something. I would say my initial idea or thought would be that a lot of the foliage grows straight up into the air and that not so much grows on the jungle floor. I'm interested in seeing the state of these ruins that we come across. This could be a perfect look at essentially a virgin site. What an ancient city would look like when you first come across it. So, if you look right here, you can see small stone structures. I think this whole area that we're standing on right now is a stone structure. Potentially house mounds of some kind. So the Maya would have built a house like this, and then potentially built a thatch and wood hut on top of it. We're kind of at the foothills of Calakmul, so perhaps we're seeing the ruins of small Maya neighborhoods. Look at that. That's a structure that, see that tree growing on? That's a whole structure there. Actually, it looks like it goes down in there. Yeah, it's definitely a structure of some kind that tree is growing over. But we're definitely getting closer to the city now. You probably can't see. That is an enormous pyramid sitting in the middle of the jungle. Wow. Let's get closer. See it from this side. See all this rubble.
Goes all the way.
Completely ruined there. Alright, so now we're gonna walk around the base of it. And I think there may be a clearer entrance. We should probably stay with our party. Otherwise I would just scale it right now. I hope it shows up on video. This is a long range structure. I'm not even sure how long. Huge blocks tumbling down the side of the platform. These long range structures are indicative of the Terminal Classic. Maybe around 700 to 850 AD is when these began to be built, especially down here. Now, these long-range structures are commonly found among sites that we attribute to the late Classic or late Classic terminal period of the Maya, which is somewhere around 750 to 800 AD. This site is enormous. And this has never been documented on a large stage before. You can't Google this. You can't find this on YouTube. Amazing. Let's go up top. See if we can see if this is a, just like when we were at Calakmul, I bet you this is one side of a plaza because it goes down over there. So I bet you that this is either a platform or part of a platform, and on the other side we're going to be sitting in the middle of a plaza. Look at this. Top of this pyramid. This is what sites look like, virgin. Completely untouched in the last at least 1,200 years. Potentially longer than that. You want to go up? Okay.
Let's go.
Watch out for snakes. They like to bask on top of these rocks where the sunlight is.
Wow.
Did you get that on camera?
Of course. You told me I should record your death.
Oh. So we're about to be up at the top. I don't know anything about this site. I tried to read about it online, but I couldn't see anything done about excavations or surveys. I'm not sure if at the top of this temple or at the top of this pyramid there's going to be a temple or not, but it's worth seeing. Okay, so no way. That's a tomb.
I can't get a good shot of it.
I think it's actually a looter's trench, not a tomb. Did you hear those boulders that fell down? This is a looter's trench. So they dug out the side of this pyramid. They dug out the side of the pyramid looking for artifacts. Well, before I saw this, I was gonna say there's another peak up there. Let's turn it on. Okay, so this is something I'm not familiar with. I think I'm not quite familiar with what this structure is. I thought it was just a pyramid at first, but it seems like now it leads up to a flat plaza. Unless this is the top of a pyramid right here, because it looks like that slopes down. And that right there is the actual peak.
Now, this site is just north of Calakmul, which may mean that it was built at some time at the beginning of the Terminal Classic period, just after the fall of the Classical period, as the cultures are beginning to move from the Peten northward. But as I look back on what we found there, it's a bit of a conundrum. While we saw several long-range structures that again indicate the late Classic Maya, I also recognized that the construction of that larger pyramid was a copy of La Danta and El Tigre at El Mirador, which is located in Guatemala. However, that site is attributed to the pre-Classic Maya sometime around 200 BC. Which is over 1,000 years older and believed to have been abandoned sometime around 100 AD. Which means that it's possible that this site that we found may have retained some kind of importance, which inspired this pyramid building style, even 1,000 years later, or this site is actually 1,000 years older than Calakmul, and is actually contemporaneous with El Mirador, putting it in that group with the oldest Maya cities ever discovered.
Be really, really careful here.
Wow. This is insane.
This is the actual top of the pyramid. Watch out for snakes here. I think I see another looter's trench. Oh yeah. I think. So they were digging down into the trench, or they were digging this trench to try to find a tomb. There's no telling if they did actually find anything or not. I don't see any artifacts like on the surface. Wow. No telling when this was done. People who live out in the sticks in Campeche, they know about these sites out in the jungle, but they don't tell the government because, you know, they have opportunity to loot artifacts and sell them on the black market. So, look at the view from up here. You can only imagine what this would have been like. It's a lot cooler up here too. What is down here? Oh, this is another trench. This is another trench right here. No telling what anybody found if they did find anything. Can you see how steep this is right here? So what I'm thinking is, all right, we're in the middle of the Terminal Classic here. Possibly inspired by El Mirador. That's the feeling I'm getting from being up on this pyramid. Not nearly as large, but it feels like a pyramid with a platform on top that has two other temples above that. So they kind of angle in, it's flat, and there's a larger pyramid on the back. Like La Danta and El Tigre in Guatemala, which is just maybe, I don't know, 50 kilometers from here through the jungle as the crow flies. Look at this, a lot of exposed rock over here. You can see how the foliage has just ripped through the pyramid. This would have been excellently constructed at one point, but the limestone has just eroded over the last over 1,000 years. And it's just not nearly in the state that it once was. This would have all been painted a bright red at one time with accents of blue and green. But over 1,200 years of trying to be preserved in a rainforest, it looks like this. All right, let's go down and see what else we find. So over here, I think this might confirm what I was thinking about this type of structure. I see a sheer face right here. Oh my. Wow, this is a huge pyramid. Watch for snakes.
Holy.
Look how far down this goes. This is an enormous pyramid. It's exactly what I thought. I think that this is built exactly like El Mirador, just on a smaller scale. Can you see how far down that goes? This is a giant pyramid with 3 temples on top and a larger one in the center, with the largest one in the center. That's what we were just on top of, that we found the looter's trench on either side. And here's the sheer face off of the end. I don't even know how tall this is. Really tall though. Oh man. Okay, let's go back to the center plaza, see what else is on this side of the city. So right below us is the city plaza, I'm pretty certain. Wow, look up there. You can see the sheer face of the pyramid. with the trees growing over it. It's amazing. So right now, I think that we're standing in the plaza. There's another pyramid over there. So what's crazy is I think we're standing in a plaza with a pyramid there. I can't see if there's any over there, but there's a pyramid there and a pyramid there. So we're either standing on the outside of a plaza or the inside of a plaza with a pyramid above it that has two pyramids on top of that, which isn't a typical Maya structure, but is kind of reminiscent of El Mirador.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I was telling them when we were up on top of this pyramid, I was trying to pay attention to the structure of it, and as we came off on this side, it gets flat at the top, and there's two smaller temples, and there's a third one in the back in the middle. The only other place that you see that is La Danta and El Tigre at El Mirador.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so with this not being too far from it, I'm thinking it's... Yeah.
Now, there's only a few ways to know how old a certain archaeological site is. We have pottery. We can look at various pottery shards and try to use relative dating to estimate what era occupied the site based on the style and artwork of the pottery. And we have carbon dating, where we could theoretically carbon date the bodies that were buried here or bodies that were found here and get a rough idea of at least when these bodies were buried and at least how old this site must be. But unfortunately, we have never found any bodies at this site, as far as I know. And I didn't see any pottery fragments, but I really wasn't there long enough to get a decent look. So how do we date a site based on the fact that we have no pottery remains and no biological remains? Well, there's a number of other ways, but I think there's something here that really gives us a good hint. When I was climbing that main pyramid, I noticed that about halfway up, it led to a pyramidal platform. Imagine taking a pyramid and slicing the top half off so you have a pyramid that leads to a platform. That's what we call a pyramidal platform. And on top of that platform, there were three more smaller pyramids, one to the right, one to the left, and a larger one about twice as tall on the back side. And I immediately recognized this as a triadic pyramid complex. And this is a tradition of pyramid building that was at its height during the pre-classic period around 200 BC. Now, the pre-classic of the Maya is sort of like ancient Egypt's Old Kingdom. So in ancient Egypt, you have the Old Kingdom, you have the intermediate period, you have the Middle Kingdom, you have another intermediate period, and then you have the New Kingdom. Well, in the Maya world, is exactly the same way. We have the pre-classic, then we have a terminal period, then we have the classic, another terminal period, and then the post-classic. So these triadic pyramid complexes were constructed in the pre-classic at the very beginning of Maya civilization. And that's really exciting. And that's exactly the sense that I got. When I was standing on the pyramid, I felt like it was a smaller version of the La Danta and El Tigre pyramids at El Mirador, just some 50 miles away. But then I have to think, okay, is it possible that the Maya at this site actually were contemporaneous with Calakmul? So around 1,000 years after El Mirador, after the pre-classic. And is it possible that they were building these structures just to harken back to this legendary ancient time of the pre-classic Maya? That's possible, but I tried to rattle my brain of all the pyramids throughout the Maya world that I've seen, all of which have been classic era to post-classic era. I have never actually seen a triadic pyramid complex with my own eyes. Even among the great large pyramids at Calakmul, they are not really the iconic triadic pyramids that you see in the pre-classic era. And Occam's razor tells me that this may actually be a pre-classic Maya pyramid having its origins all the way back at the beginning of Maya civilization.
Okay, so we're on the back side of the plaza. And this pyramid is more sheer than the other ones. So guess we got to go to the top since we're here. Watch out for snakes here. Oh, it goes up way further than you think. Oh my God. Look right here. big looter's trench. Huge. I think there's another one over here to the left. Yep. Still rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's been here. Somebody's been in here looting around. Let's come over here. There's a bigger looter's trench. This is the biggest one at this site. So look up here. This was either once a room at one point with a chamber inside, or looters have come in, I don't know, sometime over the last 1,200 years and dug this all out looking for tombs. See if there's anything left. Looks more like a looter's trench to me. There's no uniform block laying here. So what we're looking at is Patan style temples that may have had a palace built on top that's crumbled in antiquity, or it was a giant temple with a thatch and wood home built on top that would have certainly been a palace to a royal family, a lord of some kind, maybe a shaman that lived up here. Or perhaps this was purely ceremonial. Maybe we would know if there were any artifacts here that looters had left, but it's all pretty lost to history. Let's go up top, see if there's anything. I think this tree's pretty stable. So we're up on top of the pyramid now. This is a huge structure, and there's another looter's trench over here. With such close proximity to Kalak Mul, even though we're literally in the middle of the jungle, people still know about this. They come out, look, they just looted the whole pyramid. But there's another looter's trench over here. At least worth seeing. How much would you love to see how much would you love to see a jade mask just laying on the surface here? Come over here, you don't have to go down, but I'm gonna take a look. Definitely seeing another looter's trench here. No telling what kind of artifacts are lost. If this even was a tomb, that is, they could have done all this work and not got anything from it at all. Let me step down in here. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything that would make me think that this temple actually had an interior at one point in antiquity. I think that this was probably, oh God. I think that this was probably a ceremonial temple in its day. I don't think anybody actually lived here. Ah, those aloe vera plants do hurt. Oh man. And what we've looked at this whole video, careful there, that's hollow. What we've looked at this whole video, oh my God, there's another trench here. What we've looked at this whole video is just one pyramid, a plaza, and another one, with a few little mound houses in the foothills out there. I mean, this is a major site that has absolutely no excavation at all other than looting. I'm gonna check out this one. Yeah. You know, another thing about these looters' trenches is, you know, they never know if they're digging at the right place. Like in Spoo Hill, the tomb that we crawled down inside of, that was at the bottom of the pyramid. So sometimes maybe a king of a Maya site dies, and then they construct a pyramid literally over his grave, and his grave is on ground level. So I'm sure a lot of this this trench looting was done for nothing. Maybe they found pottery shards on the surface, maybe, but that'd be more likely to be seen at the bottom near the base of the pyramid. Let's see if I can try to get back up to you. Look how loose all these are. I can't even grab any of them. Oh my god. Okay, this is the one we saw earlier. Never mind. All right, let's go back down, see more of the city. So we were walking back through here the second time, and I don't know why I didn't think of this clean log right here. And I was thinking, what is this doing here? But then I thought, I bet you that this right here was a tree that grew into the side of the temple here. They cut down the tree, and when the tree falls, it lifts out half of the temple and rips it open. And then they start digging in, hoping to find something. And I bet you if we went all the way around, we would probably find logs of looters cutting it down with a chainsaw. So this is definitely done in modern times. And cutting it down with a chainsaw, the tree falls out and rips the side of the pyramid out. So, man, I wish, you know, like people would log things, like whatever they found, log it anonymously somehow before they sell it on the black market, because, I mean, there could be artifacts found here. There could be Maya codices. I guarantee you all the codexes that Diego de Landa burned in Merida, the thousands, tens of thousands of codices that destroyed all the Maya history, could be buried in tombs in places like this. And when they're sold on the black market, they're gone forever. Oh yeah, yeah. Una plaza, dos plazas, tres plaza.
Una, dos, tres, cuatro y hay una más hacia abajo, 5.
Wow.
Pero no rebasan los 25 metros las estructuras.
Incredible.
Este tiene diferente estilo de construcción. Es
¿Estilo?
una elevación y en la parte de arriba tiene terminación.
Really?
Aquella es como que más estilo petén, que es hacia arriba. Tirando.
The stela that he's talking about, ask him if it's still there.
Stelae está aquí ahora.
No? Was it taken?
No se han encontrado. Posiblemente haya, pero están enterradas.
Oh, there could still be stela.
Sí.
Wow. Oh my god.
They have sweet like potion or fluid.
Yep.
And that draws the ants.
Okay, so we came back down the pyramid that we were just on, and I got to see the first one that we were on from a different angle. Man, I don't know if this shows up the way it should on camera, but I mean, this is enormous, man. We're seeing it like what you guys are seeing on camera and what I'm seeing here for the first time. This is my first time seeing a city virgin, untouched like this, other than looters' trenches. When the great explorers came in the 1800s, early 1900s, this is what a lot of the state of the ruins looked like. You know what we should do? is we should find an expedition to come out here for like a week and map this site and be the first people to map it. I guarantee you that there's Stelae here. Take good photos of them, document everything that's here, because if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it. The Maya train, that's what the Mexican government is focused on, is the Maya train. They're going to be focused on their big sites like Calakmul, which is, you know, 40 kilometers that way in the jungle. A site like this is going to be left in ruins, it's going to be left to looters. And maybe if somebody came in and mapped it all, found something of significance, like these pyramids, sounds bad to say, they're significant, but there's so many of them that there's not a lot that the government can do about it. But we go through the jungle and we find a stele or stela standing 10 feet tall here, telling the story of the city, and all of a sudden we learn the city's significance. You know, perhaps they had a war with Calakmul. Perhaps they were an ally to Calakmul, and they helped Calakmul defeat Palenque, or they were at Yaxchilan. That's really far from here. If that's proven, this whole place is going to get cleared out, and we're going to learn so much more. There's so many of these sites to be found. I mean, look here. There's another pyramid. Here's one right behind you. Here's another one over here. Look, this is insane. And the only people who really know about this are the looters. Wow. Look at this one. Look, there's another one here. Look up there. Oh man. I mean, man, you're talking about an enormous city. I had no idea. Oh my God.
Had enough yet?
No, not at all. Look at the range of this structure. Somehow preserved in some way. So, yeah, this is a pretty well preserved, long range structure. Somehow, the foliage hasn't grown completely over it like we see at so many other sites. I don't quite understand that, but definitely definitely late classic, like around 800 AD, maybe 700 AD, towards the end of Calakmul. It's just the kind of structures that we see around that time. It's around the end of the 10th or 11th Baktun, I believe. And it was a time when the Maya knew that they needed to change, so they were voluntarily migrating out of these areas, going up north and essentially building a new civilization, building what they didn't know would be the post-classic era. But this right here was built at the height, or right next to the height of the Maya. Like, I mean, this is a huge place. If we find a stela, if we come back and really do this place justice, if we find a stela, it puts this place on the map. And the only people who have really been here to do any work are just looters and local people who, you know, make some money by bringing people out here. But there's never been any actual work done here. Nothing good for the site. Okay, so I saw the structure from a bit further away. I thought I saw something over there. But immediately what was noticeable to me is the staircase. Look here. Look here. It's almost a straight line. See this first line? See the second line? See the third line? That's a staircase going all the way up the pyramid. But this tree has grown in the middle, and the roots have warped the staircase. But look how well preserved this one is. Wow. I mean, this is insane. to see a staircase, you know, you can make out the blocks. I can see it really well from here, actually.
You can see the red paint.
Really?
Come here. Look at that rock.
Wow. Wow.
The one above it too. That's the one I was looking at.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So all of these temples, believe it or not, they would have been absolutely covered with a bright red paint that the Maya extracted from cinnabar, and these pyramids would have been covered in that. I mean, it's hard to imagine looking at this, that this whole thing would have been red, bright red. It would have been completely cleared out. No trees here, no trees on it, of course. No trees around here. All of these are plazas. It's amazing. Wow. Look at, you can show part of this staircase right here. This step. If you walk over here, you can see it really well. Look how well you can see this. That's the best preserved staircase I have personally seen. But actually, it's not the bottom of the staircase. That's the bottom. Wow. Man. Look at all this, all these structures here. Wow. This may be the tree. I mean, I'm not too familiar with ecology, but I think this is the tree that the Maya extracted cinnabar from. So some of the shades of red in here, that dark burnt orange color, it would have been brighter when they laid it on the stones, but I believe this is where they extract the paint from. I believe. It's all over the Maya world, which makes sense because there are a ton of Maya cities and they were all painted red. $200 just to know where this site is. Pretty good exchange. Man, look at the size of this one. This is probably, I can't even keep count, maybe the 15th pyramid that we've seen here. And I feel like we've hardly looked at this site. I can't believe there's been no actual archaeology done here. This site is only given a name because some people know about it, and they know about it because looters have come and picked stuff out of it. Look at this stone real quick. Look at the preservation on that. That's a stair step. Huh. Wow. Okay, anyways. There's a lot to see here. I hadn't thought about this before I came out here, but somebody independent needs to come out and map this whole place and find something to give this place a real name. A stela, maybe multiple stelae, something of that sort to give this place a name, to give it a meaning, to stop all the looting that's going on here, so that the Mexican government will take this site seriously. Because I mean, there's just so many out there. If you don't find hieroglyphs to give the site its context, then there's just nothing that they can really do. And even then, I mean, I don't know if they'll do anything at all. But man, if we come out here and find something, we can make history. And I think this would be a great starting point in launching annual or double annual expeditions in the future. I mean, I just feel like if I keep walking around, and I can't because we're on our second to last day, we have to get back to the airport tomorrow. If I keep walking around, I'm gonna find a stela. I think in the future, I really think in the future, before the Maya train blows this whole area up, we need to start coming out here on a regular basis, or at least come out here for a long time and try to find a stela of some kind to give this site context, find a hieroglyph of some kind, anything, get it translated and figure out what this site really is and the significance of it, because it's enormous. If you guys like videos like this, please like and subscribe for more. I would love to be able to do this full time. And if I could do this full time, I would, and I'd make a ton of videos about it. And we'd see stuff that's never been seen before on YouTube, for sure. Well, I'm Luke Caverns, I'm an anthropologist. I really love the Maya, and I want to make a difference in this field as an independent anthropologist in a way that hasn't been done before. So thank you all so much for your support. Looking forward to seeing you back in the jungle.
I want to give a huge thank you to my good friend Eli Spellman, who helped me film this series, Jungle of Stone. We both got heat stroked and both got very sick during this expedition, and it was really hard filming this series. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Eli, I think you did a killer job. And as dangerous as some of these places that we went were, I told Eli that as long as he's holding the camera and it's filming, the cameraman never dies. So Eli, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate your hard work and your sacrifice coming out there and stepping foot into the jungle with me. I cannot wait to break ground on our next project. Anyway, I'm Luke Caverns. I hope that you have all enjoyed this series of Jungle of Stone so far. This has been something that I have always wanted to do since I was a little kid. I come from a lineage of explorers dating back to the 1890s, and it's kind of surreal to just still continue to do what my family has always loved to do. This is a very personal journey for me, as much as it is wanting to be methodical and research archaeology and return with archaeological data and learn more about the Maya, the Olmecs, or any other given ancient culture. It's also a personal journey for me. This is my dream. There's nothing else that I could ever imagine spending my life doing. And all of you being here just supporting me, there's nothing that I could ever say or do to adequately repay you. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much for watching this series. And this is just the beginning. It's overwhelming. So thank you guys all so much. I'm Luke Caverns, and we'll see you next time on Jungle of Stone.